Oh my goodness. Seriously, I have to just do it. It's like I can tell myself I don't have to think about things that don't matter.
I was designed to do those things. How the hell does this guy know this about me?
It's impossible to not see.
When Dan read for my sister, she was like, he's psychic. She's like, how does he know that?
Yes.
She's like, it's human design, guys. Like, it's just a testimony of how legit it is.
Seriously, Danny was like FBI or CIA. He's like, how the hell does this guy know this about me?
Having my chart read, there were just thing after thing after thing that I was just like, wow, that's me.
This man is reading me and I've never met him before.
I was in the midst of one of the biggest emotional waves I've ever been in my life, and he saved my life.
It seems like everybody has the same reaction. It's that aha moment, and they want to find out more. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Human Design Advantage podcast. My name is Jen, and decoding the matrix for us is Danny Guru. Hey, Dan.
Nice. Happy Wednesday to you.
Happy Wednesday to you. I am super excited about tonight's episode. For those of you who are tuning in or listening to this podcast, it is September 14th, 2022. And tonight we will be doing Queen Elizabeth II, King Charles III, and it's September
14th.
Wait, what did I say?
13th.
Oh, did I?
Yep.
Okay, I was looking right at the 14th.
That's so funny.
September 14th. And going back to what I was saying, we did throw in Princess Diana as a bonus.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited, and we did play.
We're going to talk about the royal family. Basically,
we are going to talk about the royal family.
Yeah.
Before we dive into that, guys, please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow the show. Hit that notification button so you don't miss an episode. And I played a different intro commercial. Me and Dan have a mindfulness course to help you through your after you get your session done with Dan, what to do and
through the journey. Through the journey,
how to really start living in your strategy and authority. Mindfulness is just one of the tools that you can utilize. We're going to be having some other courses come your way as well. So be on the lookout for that. That's super exciting. So yeah, if you are ready to go to the next level, definitely check out the links down below. You can find the page to sign up for that or to check it out. And if you have any questions, just send us a DM. We'll be happy to help you out.
Absolutely. So I can't wait to do this tonight. So we found out last moment that Prince Charles married his mother, Lady Diana.
Yes. As soon as I was putting it together, guys, it's going to blow your mind. And not only that, but you're also going to see how Charles and their charts, like, it's almost completing.
Yeah. No.
I think there's only one center.
Yeah, they almost completed each other, and at the same time there was this terrible friction, and Mom didn't like Diana. She
probably felt very threatened by her.
Incredibly.
So
let's pull up some charts. So I mean, first it's the Queen of England, the former Queen of the United Kingdom.
I wanted to make sure we included a real picture.
Yeah, no, actually, that's a good picture. So,
and you'll be able to find the slides down if you're listening to this guide. Check the links down below. You'll be able to find the PDFs for you to view.
Yeah. Is it by chance? Remember, I sent you an extra slide on this one. It was the advanced imaging of Queen Elizabeth. That's not available, is it?
I did not see that.
It was on an email. I was hoping it would come through. It's okay.
No, I did not. I just opened up the Telegram.
No, it's perfect. So, what we're looking at here with the Queen of England, with Queen Elizabeth, is obviously we've got a projector. Now they're meant to guide things, but this one is a very special incarnation cross. She's on the cross of wishes. And the wish is that the stuff that she always wanted will come true. It's partly the cross of the laws. This is a design of somebody who formerly was the lawgiver. Truly, yes, the lawgiver. It's the cross of laws goes into the cross of not limitation, but ordering and putting things together, the interim cross, and then the left angle cross here. This is all within the same few days. So if she'd been born a few days earlier, she would have been on the cross of the laws. And they blend into each other. And so what ends up happening is it turns into the cross of wishes, because that 41 and that 31 on the sun and the earth on the left-hand side, the design side, it throws a hunger and a desire to be influential and basically say what can be done. And what better place to couch your wishes than from a place of a throne where you can say what will be done.
Yes.
She's
got the profile for it.
She's got the profile for it. So everyone projected upon her that she would suddenly, that she would be the thing. She would be the person. But underneath it all, she was relatively quiet. She was relatively quiet. With moments of blowing up at people for not recognizing her and or for not hearing what she's saying. So.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
I would not want to be on her bad side, because with the entitlement that they grow up with, it would not very pretty. Most likely would be the thing. So as a projector, in this position, naturally, had she been raised according to her design, she'd be a natural leader in all of this stuff. She's transpersonal. That fifth line attracted society. She attracted the society of her country for a wicked long time, but she didn't come truly influential until she had Charles. Charles was born in 48 and she took the throne in 52.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason for that. Charles put a bunch of juice into her that basically gave her the rest of the influence that she needed.
Yes, because he a lot of his centers, they both fill.
Yeah.
Except
one fills in the other. The thing is, Charles was absolutely annoying to her because Charles was Mr. Blah, 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 blah. But staying on Queen Elizabeth for a little while, the definition in her head center. So head, ajna, throat. Okay. And she's got all those gates coming off the bottom of the throat. So she wants to be influential. She wants her creative way to be heard. She wants to be able to tell how it was, so therefore how it's going to be. And that's what's coming off of the bottom of this. And it doesn't make it to a motor. So she was always tired. She was always having to make sure she had the right rest. With all that money and all that caretaking of her, my guess is she got the right amount of rest. She did live a long time. So if she was truly running herself ragged, she would have beat that body of hers up long ago, would be my guess. So my guess is she got the right amount.
I was going to say something, but I'll.
Well, there's other things that beat that body up, Jen. What
there's other things that sustain them as well.
Oh, yeah, that's true too. Well,
so that's all I'm going to say.
Well,
I mean,
she would have been hungry for that juice, Jen, and I'll get to that in a minute. I thought the exact same thing. Was she a juice drinker? And my guess is she was. So, but still, staying at the top, what you're looking at is when you have too much power and you don't get raised according to your design, you don't know anything, you don't have any humbleness, and you haven't communed with anybody because you have too much power, this becomes a verbal gunslinger. She's Mrs. I'll tell you how it's going to go. Gate 17 off that ajna is conscious, and that thing gets so pissed at people when there's a challenge. She's got a fear of challenge. She's got a fear of challenge and a fear of taking on too much responsibility. Go figure.
Right? I was just like, okay.
Yep. Well, there's a fear of taking on too much responsibility, the fear of the responsibility. And lo and behold, half the time, she rarely showed herself. Because everyone projected upon her that she would do things that she didn't know she wanted to do. And if you look at gate 3, line 5 in the sun of her personality,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to read that one because it stood out. Victimization. And it's a lifelong process of learning how to not be a victim. When actions designed to overcome confusion, alienate others. So
Oh my gosh, and she's a 5'1" too. I
Yep.
bet you she had a double whammy.
she had a double whammy of alienating others. And at the same time, she had to be regal and friendly. And then when people ran, it was a very few people that actually could stand in her aura and that she would accept. My guess is she had, 5 or 6 close friends by the end of it all at most, when in her position, she should have been, tons of friends, tons of people, but she was paranoid. She literally, that's the 5th line, has a propensity to paranoia over time. And in her position, it would have showed up in spades because everyone was projecting upon her that she would do something, be something. And she didn't know if she was those things. Open G center, she doesn't know where she's headed. Open sacral, she doesn't know when enough is enough, or if she even is enough, or if she's even good enough. Open ego. And all of this coming down through her head, wanting to basically say everything like it is and be able to just bark out the rules of how it would be. And unfortunately, she probably got most of that.
Yeah.
So where's the growth if there's no friction? Right?
Do they have to? I mean,
friction
if
is
it's
required.
royalty?
Well, friction is required for growth. Friction is required to make the passage through. You know what I mean? If there's no friction, how do you grow? Think about it. How much muscle mass would you build on the moon?
No, true. I agree. She probably had a lot of friction behind the scenes. I mean,
Guaranteed.
if you know what everything is, what she did, the truth about her reign and all of that.
Let's talk about the truth about her reign. The truth about her reign is she was groomed, like all the people at the WEF, to be literally a world leader, and she was groomed in a royal family, and she was brought up in that whole way, and she owned the title and the deed through basically stealing, because the crown did that. All governments did that. It wasn't just the crown.
Well, it wasn't just the stealing. I mean, like she is up there with Adolf Hitler. People are comparing her to that. She did a Holocaust, India, Africa. Not to mention that, you get what she did in Canada with the native children. I mean, and those were children.
And in Canada and the U.S. and all around the world,
yes,
the throne owns the mortgages to most of the properties on the planet. In fact, this country itself has been held back by their fake ill-gotten ownership that no one in England and no one in America really understands. They don't know that.
And it was all under her rule. Like she is a top pillar of why, I'm going to just say it, why the world has been fucked.
Yep. Well,
plain and simple. And if anybody watches it and disagrees with me, then let's have a conversation and I'll educate you on some real history just to look at it.
Well, the Queen of England, her opinions were the most important things in the world.
Half of what she's wearing in this is all stolen.
Is that true? Yeah.
Yes, her carriage alone, her carriage alone could feed a whole Africa.
Right. Oh yeah.
Solid gold. And people are in poverty, and people are wondering, why we are the way that we are. It all starts with this.
They projected upon her from a young age that she would be something, that she was so important. She had to live up to that projection. She was a projector. She didn't know when she was running out of energy. She didn't know if she would be all that stuff. She had lots of doubts.
I do know that when they are born into royalty, they start the grooming right away.
Right. So
her having that defined head center, I know from my research, after all the ones that we have done, the orders were coming from her.
Oh yeah.
That defined head center told me everything.
That's the thing. So basically, much of the orders were literally coming from her and or her edicts that she had laid out from before, one or the other. So she was a thinker. She had no problem formulating solutions to issues for the royalty.
That's why Diana was taken out. She has a defined head center.
Yeah.
She couldn't have somebody like Diana in that seat.
Now, when Diana lost her life, I don't know that design was actually in the world, so she might not have known that literally, but she knew it intuitively.
They know, if they know astrology, the chakra system, the cabal, all that other stuff. If they know all that other stuff outside of human design, which makes human design, they were able to figure out something.
Well, yeah, and they would have intuitively said, we don't like her. And she would have said, I don't like her, because look at the bane of Queen Elizabeth's existence is not just the open centers, which she would have compensated for by filling them in with others and filling them in with her riches. But whenever there's a split definition, I go and see, is it just one or two gates? And lo and behold, one gate. Bridges are split. Gate 35. Off of the throat center, the right-hand side of the throat center. Gate 35, if it were filled in, would make her a single split, a single definition, because from the bottom of the root center all the way up to through gate 36, so bottom of the root center, 41 to 30 and to 36, and then look, no 35 above it.
Yep.
This is all about bringing the progress that she wants, having her expectations fulfilled. So what does she get mad about? My expectations are not being fulfilled. That was, she wanted them to be filled. She thought something was wrong. Everything in her life would have been, well, many things in her life would have felt like a crisis underneath it all. And she's the queen, and she can't show that stuff. She can't show all those emotional outbursts, like generally speaking. She can't show, you know, her emotional wave going up and down. She's got unconscious emotional definition in the abstract stream of emotional awareness. This is all about the human experiential way. It starts with hunger, desire, and fantasy. This woman, well, I don't know who her husband was, but when they were young, they gave each other a hell of a ride over and over, because, you know, she's a sexual being. She's got almost that whole channel of that experiential way. She's got this defined solar plex center, and this wave of hers is unconscious. 41 to 30, that red down at the bottom, is the channel of recognition. She was always under pressure to recognize what feelings would she cling to. When she had a feeling, she clung to it. So get those Indians out of there. She would cling to that. And if it wasn't working and they had to send more people, it was a crisis. And because she didn't know how it was all going to go. And so she sat there with a bunch of nerves saying, but I've got the right formula. It was my opinion. I told you what to do. I have rules. I have influence. And so you put these things together, and suddenly she's an emotional powder keg going up and down on a wave that nobody really sees. And on the downside of her wave, murder more people in India. On the upside of her wave, maybe we'll listen to Gandhi sooner or later. You know, I don't know where she was in all of that, but she would have been the queen when Gandhi's peaceful movement basically wore him down. Right? That happened in somewhere in the 50s, 60s, or 70s.
Yes.
Yeah, so you see what I'm saying? So as a projector, she's literally supposed to be waiting for the invitation. Now, she might have had the wherewithal to wait for the invitation many times, and to wait to be recognized, and to recognize when you're being recognized. But my guess is she did a lot more of recognizing when others didn't recognize her, and she chopped her head off, you know, figuratively speaking, and sometimes literally.
Well, she is the queen, so I would say she probably. I mean, you would have to.
She take them out. You're fired. Get out. You lost your job. Sorry, you know, all that stuff. Just the things that would happen when the bitterness crept in, because her emotional wave is unconscious and it comes out of nowhere. It just shows up. Damn those people. Damn this thing. Damn that thing. I mean, she's under a lot of pressure. She's carrying the weight of most of the maritime jurisdiction for all of the world. And she's carrying the weight of all those contracts, and everyone trying to always bite into it, and then trying to figure out how it's all going to go. And all the while controlling people all over the place quietly through the Bar Association and the maritime law that she ruled over. Most people don't know, but maritime law was started long ago. They called it Admiralty, Maritime, the law of the sea, land, air, water. She was the law in the water. And that's contract law, and that's sort of civil corporate law. And that means all the contracts, all the lawyers, all the things she was in charge of. There's no lawyer in America.
Washington, D.C.
Yep, that doesn't go through the Bar Association. And so she was in control of all of that stuff. We wonder why our government is so messed up. It's because it's not our government. essentially we have two governments, and she was essentially the queen of that government in part, not fully, but she had so much influence that it was like it might as well have been. And nobody
Yep.
really knows that. It's something that you wouldn't think about. But she helped preside over making sure that, we would be enslaved through debt. She's presided over that. She's presided over making debt slaves. She's made her whole living off of debt slavery. She enslaves her own countrymen instead of letting them free. In England, you can't own land. You don't own land. You sort of own it. You have an equitable title, and you have use and access. So you can buy home, get out, and mostly that'll work for most of your life with most circumstances, but it's not yours. It's not yours. Things go the wrong way and they start saying take COVID jobs and you don't, no, they'll take it away. They have the right.
They've done that the whole entire time. It's always been around my land, and
Right.
you can have it now, but
It's been land. So born into all of that, having a split definition as a projector, prone to bitterness if you don't know your design and you don't know that that's just the chemistry you're supposed to watch for and experiment with. If you don't know that stuff, this would have been, I want my expectations met. I want a gate 35 because I don't have it. It's missing. So there's something wrong with me. And I'm not going to say that. So there's something wrong with you. So when she did speak, if it was nice and cordial, she loved that. Don't get me wrong. Every human being loves at least their candid moments in a moment. But then when they realize all this weight on them, the 7-centered old way weight on them, they go right back to their bullshit, not self, easily, quickly. And she would have been, I'll get rid of you if you don't do as I say and give me the progress I want. I need to make change in this way. You're going to do that for me. You're going to make it happen. You're going to do what I say or you're gone. This is what she learned to do. And she had other people help her with it, because without a defined ego, she wouldn't have always had the ego will to do such a thing.
right.
Yes. So, and that, again, that emotional wave, it's called a crash wave, 4130 down at the bottom. And because it's unconscious, it crashes out of nowhere. So suddenly she'll be going along, it's unconscious, and then suddenly she recognizes, oh, Jesus, I'm going down on my wave. Now she can't tell anybody. It would be like a young girl getting her period for the first time and realizing, oh my God, I got to run somewhere, and I don't want to bleed through my white pants or something like that. It'd be like somebody, whatever they pick an uncomfortable example, and that would have been her. And she would have been, there would have been times where the people closest to her would just know from a look and the emotional wave that they would receive that something's not right in Denmark. Something is not good. And people suddenly are walking on eggshells and not, yes, my lord, yes, my lord, or yes, my queen, my liege. So she thought she was the law. She had the audacity to think she was the law.
I would say yes, that fits her routine.
If she didn't get the law, the way she wanted it, she said, my values are in jeopardy, and so you've got to get gone. I would assume that behind the scenes, there was plenty of ruthless nonsense here, trying to fill gate 35, which isn't there. And she wouldn't have even known that one little aspect. I could have come in behind the scenes and said something to a chef or something and be like, oh my God, you're talking about the queen. That would have known better.
I after this, I really got to pull up the rest of the family, because I'm curious to see how they, they played a part.
Her influence. She was entitled to her influence. Her influence was absolute, or she was not happy, except in the rarest of moments when her humanity poked out. No matter how, whatever you are, what side of the coin you are, sooner or later, your actual humanity is going to poke out. It would show up here and there in private times, especially, but in public times and during public discourse and for the public affair of the crown,
Do you know what Philip was?
No.
Out of curiosity? Okay.
Prince Philip?
Yeah.
Didn't he marry someone else?
No, he was married to the queen.
Then I'm thinking of someone else. There's another Prince Philip who married that movie star. I forgot.
Yes. This is Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. So,
Yeah, he's the one that wanted to die and come back as a virus
oh God, I'm
and
just
kill everybody. That's what he wanted to incarnate as.
egads. I have a hard time with that. So the last thing I'll say about her before we move on to Charles real quick is
Okay.
that her 350 in this personality Sun Earth, that third line is all about bringing order to things. So
What did you say before?
the 3 and the 50 right there.
Oh, okay.
Personality Sun Earth, that's part of her incarnation cross of wishes. Her wishes are met when she brings order to something. And that gate 3 is in an open center. So she grew up with the additional, potentially, bitterness of always needing someone else to let her sunshine out. Somebody else always had to condition her before she could let out where her gravitas was coming from. That's a thing. And it doesn't mean dick. It doesn't mean anything if you grow up integrated in a world with a bunch of other people. But when you grow up there, it's different. It's different. So both her sun and her earth are in open centers. Her whole personality was reliantly insecure on other people to condition her to be the queen. She was told she would be the queen, most likely, or actually maybe not. She sort of just came across it. It was unexpected.
I believe so. It was unexpected.
Yes, it was unexpected because as this cross of wishes leaves, it goes into the cross of the unexpected. So she came from the law and moves into the unexpected, taking up this slight few degrees of arc of the sun called the cross of wishes. The left angle cross of wishes, transpersonal, being able to get a message out, being able to trumpet whatever the message is, and collect and attract the society needed to make it all happen, to put it all in order. She really had a lot going on. She's great. She just great design for her position. If only her position wasn't such a pile of bullshit.
Yeah, I know. Savannah has some questions real quick.
Gate 35 bridges are split. How does that express? Nervousness with new experience. Oh, the nervousness with new experience, Savannah, is already there. That's baked in every moment. That nervousness is sitting there in the doubly defined gate 36 of hers. Off of the solar plex center, gate 36, pointing up at the throat. But 35 not being there becomes a yearning to be it. So here she is with this hunger to cling to the fire of the feeling that she has that's unconscious. So it shows up into the crisis of not being able to have that feeling and the inexperience of it, into thinking that she doesn't have the ability to manifest it. And that's a problem. There's something wrong with her. I can't manifest this on my own. I have to slam my fist. I have to make an order. I have to get my gestures to write a decree. I have to call, Boris Johnson, and tell him to make a new law. I have to call on my cronies. I have to threaten. I have to level threats. I have to bring in more money. All of this stuff, this progress that she felt she was lacking. She felt she was lacking the ability to be the change agent that the extremely fiery feelings with hunger and desire and expectation wanted her to be. That's how she expressed that, Savannah. Let's I got on a roll with that last one, Jen. That was good.
Yes, she also asked about 4130. You went over.
I touched on it. That is moving into the cross of the unexpected.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, 40. I think it's the unexpected. It's either that or contagion. Either way, it gets unexpected things happen from it. But so moving on from that, if we go to Charles real quick.
Got Charles up.
I'll look that up later. Oakley do. Can you go back and forth between them real quick?
I can. Yeah.
So stop right there. Stop here. You there? Stop. Gate 31. This is about the most important one. Gate 31 in her body graph off of the throat. Now go back to his. Gate 7 in the G center. He totally filled in her split and connected her all up. He gave her an ego. He gave her a voice. He gave her the willpower to be influential. He brought the army. Gate 7 is called the army. And when it's called the Army. And look, Gate 7, he's a split as well. Gate 7 doesn't make it up to 31. So all he ever wants to do is raise the troops and prove that he's influential. I'll prove it. I got this big fat ego. I'll say it. And he's got the channel of structuring. He never stopped talking. It's in the 4th line. That 43 and his son. That's all about a one-track mind. That is literally the one-track mind to express the sound knocking around in his head that half the time people don't understand what he's saying. Except he's royalty, so they have to fake it. Oh, yes, sir. No, right away, until they figure out what is it he's trying to say. All he ever wanted was his mother's influence. His mother gave him Gate 31 and the capacity to manifest the influence. We're looking at a powerful generator that would love nothing more than to manifest, and he's got no motor connected to the throat until his mother comes along. So, go ahead.
I mean, look, like they fill each other in.
Literally. Yep. And there was one other spot that they connected. Go back to her body graph real quick. Yep. Go on back. She 50. Had a gate 50 right there. Yep. And he has a gate 27. So together they fill in all the centers, all of them. So they're 9-0, a single definition. Together, these two were inseparable.
I can't wait till we pull up Diana's chart.
Yeah, together these two were inseparable. And look at, he's got the ego. He's got individual definition. All of his definition is individual except for one, the ability to transmit a message. And he's an externalizer. He's a 4-6 profile. So that 4th line wants to talk, wants to say stuff, has a fixed way of looking at things. And that's healthy for them. Unless it's not healthy for others,
Right.
He's not concerning himself with the health of others very much because he lives in a place where he doesn't have to see it. The one-track mind, over-reliance on stubborn obsession with one's mental abilities in the face of challenge. Over-reliance. Now, if you grow up in a world integrated with other human beings, you learn to deal with what that over-reliance is. You become wise on, in my younger years, I was over-reliance on a one-track mind that was fixed on an obsessive idea, and that was healthy for you when you were younger because it got your energy out and made you figure out what you were going to do. And then as you got older, you got wiser. He didn't get wiser. No, he's surrounded by yes men and women.
Yeah.
Yeah. With one possible exception. I don't know about that Camilla. Camilla may have made him wiser. There's no rule that says she wouldn't,
We didn't pull up her chart.
Nope.
But that's why I'm curious about the rest of the family.
In the detriment, the new king has this going on. The vanity to attempt expression and be the expressor of your influence without having the depth. The vanity to express with knowing you don't have the depth. The vanity. So you attach that to an ego. The ego willpower will say, I'll take that vanity. You attach that to a gate 48 on his spleen. Gate 48 pushing up to the throat center. Off the spleen. Yep, right there's the spleen. And at the very top of the spleen is gate number 48, pointing at gate 16 in the throat.
48.
See it there?
No.
It's your left an inch.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
48. Yep, it's defined twice. He's got a bunch of defined twice lines. And that's it. This would bridge his split. He's forever concerning himself that his depth isn't good enough. He needs talent. He needs skills. He's not talented enough. He's got a big trip and a hang up over the talent that he doesn't have. It's not all the time because he's a triple split. So it's there, it's not, it's there, it's not, but it's still something he wants. When you've got a gate, that gate on the other side of it is so attractive. All gates do that. It's the genetic path. And so you take 31, 20, which would hook up his 10 and his 57, and you take 16, you add that all up, and you're like, I'm influential right now, and I'll prove to you I have the talent. And it doesn't matter if I have the depth. And he's a design of having plenty of depth. If he were raised right, he would have plenty of depth. He's got depth on how to keep everyone in debt slavery. He's got depth with that. He's going to have a lot less depth when we're all done claiming our independence and getting papered up and becoming American state nationals. I'm going to be a Massachusettsian, that's for sure. You're going to be a Texan.
That would be a Texan.
Absolutely. We're getting out of the matrix of corporate life that these guys promulgate. These guys keep it going because they've owned it the whole time.
Yep.
I mean, what to do? It's not, oh, that's a relic from the past. I'm sorry, dude. If you owned a piece of property from the 1700s and it stayed in your family, what, you're going to give it up because it's a relic? No.
Exactly. Good point.
You're not going to give it up because it's a relic. You're going to fortify it and make it look new. You know? So, I mean, if I had a property handed down to me and it was a house or whatever, I'd be living in it. I'd be using it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. So that's the thing. So we can't dismiss just because it was a long time ago that, oh, it's not true now. It's more true than ever. They've held on to jurisdictions that literally rule Washington, D.C., which then rule all of us, which is why I'm not going to be a U.S. corporate citizen for much longer. I'm going to be a state national. I'm going to have my feet on the land and soil in my republic, Jennifer. So let's see.
Yes.
Let's see who Charles married. Let's go back to the Queen real quick. Mr. Ego Man, blah, blah, blah. So there's the Queen. Just take it in for a second. Got a head, got a throat, ajna. You got that channel of recognition. There's a line 1 in this profile. Go to Diana. Oh, there's a line 1.
It's like the freaking chart does not change.
Well, it's because it's the same information. Look at she's still a 5-1. It's the exact same chart.
Oh, it's okay. Damn it.
But don't worry, guys. This is not anticlimactic because it is so similar that you'll get that notion that it's a lot like this.
But I think I downloaded her chart. Yep. I do have it right here.
Look at it this way. So, super emotional, no throat defined, but she's got an ego, and that would have been terribly threatening to her mother. She's also got that same emotional channel. She's got that same channel of logic.
Yes.
Yep. And she doesn't connect Charles. Charles married her because she was so sexy. Charles married her mother.
Literally. I know.
I mean, that's literally. And at this, and then at the same time, here she shows up. She's on the cross of confrontation. What is this? The cross of tension, right?
It is the cross of tension.
Yes. Where
39, she did cause that. She caused tension.
Yep. So, and it's in a defined center, so it's always on. So she brings in the provocation, and she's a real provocateur to the queen, to the king, to the prince, whatever, to all of it. She was a big fat provocateur, and she has a defined ego with a gate 21. So she's in control of that thing. She's going to find a way to control that thing or not. That third line is going to be an anarchist. It's going to tear stuff down. She tore it down. She tore her own self down as her investigation through marriage started to reveal, oh my God, what a mess. And she's got a strategic mind. So she tried to be strategic about all of that, but with no throat, she would always basically be at the whim of Prince Charles, who would basically dominate her essentially because of his position and because of all the compromises he put on her. Charles could always say, I know. And Diana had nothing to say. It was a big compromise for her because Charles had the channel of, I know, the channel of structure. Yeah. And Charles could always say, well, I'll keep at it because he was a generator. Diana couldn't keep at it. She wasn't designed to just keep at it.
No, she was a projector.
She's a projector. So, she's designed to have regular rest. Charles could, where she dominated him would have been in her ego. He could not control the fiery ego of Diana. Diana would have put that emotional wave into Charles, and Charles would have been eating it up. Go back to Charles real quick. Look at all the stuff she fills in for Charles. Yep. So she gives him an emotional solar plex center, and she gives him a head center, and he fills in the rest for her. Again, they were 9-0 with a lot of splits. So they didn't know how to communicate with each other. Yet they were thrown together. Charles is Mr. Blah, blah, blah. Literally, Mr. Going to say it whether I have the depth or not. What I say is right. I'm fixed on what I'm saying. My mother told me. My mother said. I'm saying. That's Charles. And so Camilla must know.
It's so funny you say that. I came across the most hilarious meme today.
Oh, did it sound like that?
Well, his jacket was buttoned funny, it wasn't in line, and it said 5 days without his mother, and he's having trouble buttoning his jacket.
Yeah. No, he'll be fine without his mother at this point in time. He'll be fine. It's not that he won't be sad, but he's unemotional, so he doesn't know what sadness is going to come and go. You know what I mean? He doesn't have a wave to give him clarity. So he's caught in a spot without a wave to give him the clarity. And then along comes Diana, and she fills in that same stuff that his mother had. And he's like, except for 31. But she didn't need to have 31 because Charles was never far from his mother.
Yeah.
His mother provided all the influence. And Diana would have been like, what's that old hag doing influence for? Diana would have been a lot like Antoinette. Antoinette, remember when Antoinette barked at us, you don't have no sleepover. Remember that? She's like, you're going to ask me, that was the provocateur of her. That was the fighter. The fighter came out of Antoinette in the moment. Generated.
Yes.
And she would have she would be the same, very similarly, she would have been provocative inside the family right away. Mom didn't like that from the get-go. But she seduced Charles. Not that she purposely seduced him. I'm saying one aura seduced the other aura. They seduced each other. Charles was all fixed.
Well, they filled in each other.
Absolutely. Charles was all fixed in his way, and here's Diana, and she's pretty. And oh Lord, she feels good. She feels good. I feel at home. I feel good. Charles got a big fat pile of feel good from her. Not enough, but at the end, he probably just dreaded her. And does he have a 28?
Yes, he does.
Charles has a gate number 28. Yes, he does. So they made the channel of struggle together. So together they got to struggle for purpose. And then find out where they were misaligned. Charles and his ego bravado willing to talk without depth, and Deanna's recognition of what a freaking pompous ass he was. So, I can only imagine what went on behind the scenes. However, the beginning of their romance, when two humans get together, there's still fireworks, whether they're royalty or not. That's the human sexual experiential way. There would have been fireworks. They would have felt amazing, most likely.
Until she realized what she married into.
Right, and plus you got to get over all the hoopla of what all of that is. So, as far as I'm concerned, we went from the royal mom who had an iron grip on many things, because she had to, and because she had the logical pathway to do it, into the stumbling buffoon who thinks he's always right. Well, listen, sir, I'm right. I'll tell you. That's Charles, or else he's not talking. So Charles is used to talking and sounding like a dumbass, and then just walking out and trying to pretend it didn't happen. He's used to just saying stuff without necessarily the depth, and then thinking if no one corrects him, he thinks that that's all true. So at least Mom had an iron grip on the reins of rulership. Charles will be led around much more like a puppet, unclear on what he's responding to, feeling stuck with all that individual definition that he doesn't necessarily know how to make sense of. If you're loaded down with individual definition, if you've got any individual definition, you have melancholy, you have mood swings, you don't know if you're in the mood or not, you can or can't move. If you're a generator, you're not in the mood or you're in the mood, and you're not in the mood more than you aren't. You feel stuck. You're basically deaf to the other. Integration, 5710, deaf, 63, gate 60 and gate 3 down to the very bottom, deaf, and definitely 4323, the channel of structuring, totally conscious in him, deaf. I heard you talked, and I think you said something, but it didn't fall in line with my fixed nature, so I'll tell you. That's Charles. Or if he gets too annoyed, he'll just walk away. He'll be frustrated. Do what you want. That's how Charles is going to lead. Charles is going to lead with walking away, do what you want, or I'll tell you how it goes, and the people behind the scenes will just sort of fix it and do what they did to Donald, and they just changed his orders around right underneath his nose, more than plenty of times. They'll just, well, we think he meant this, so they'll dot the I's and cross the T's the way they think that it needs to go to make it smooth.
Just like they do everything else.
Yes, yeah. And then he'll think it's his unless it stands out as something too different from what it was he said, in which case someone will go talk to him anyways and fill him in and say, sir, we have to blah, 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 and we made you look smarter. As long as people tell him that we're making you look smart, he loves that. So that's Charles. And Diana came along, and boy, did she just throw a wrench in the works. Diana replaced the queen.
Yeah, she did.
Threw the whole family into chaos, called them all out. Didn't Diana? She was going about the business of starting to call out the real subterfuge of the family, was she not? She was starting to get to that point where loose lips were going to sink some ships. Is that true? I think that's true. Yeah.
Yes.
So then she didn't die in a car accident. They killed her.
Yes.
Or something. You know, they made sure it took place.
Someone definitely had a hand in that.
I would
the
say
one that was giving orders.
Well, I'm looking at their designs, and I'm looking at all the power and the power structure. And when you get up in those echelons of elite power structures, it's very cutthroat, and life and death are actual parameters, unlike most of us here on the ground.
Yes, even if you do if you study the history of being in royalty, I mean,
murder,
yes,
poisoning,
I'm pretty sure that you constantly were worried about if you were going to get murdered. That's why they had people that tested their food.
Mm-hmm. Treachery and backstabbing and all of that stuff. And Charles is a strong man as it relates to, he's a generator. He's got an ego. He's got a lot of centers filled in. There's a lot of definition there. Charles was able to motor himself through whatever, essentially. And he was probably ran around plenty as a kid. So he'll bumble his way through is what he'll do. And everyone will come to him and ask him complex questions unless they figured out he's a generator. He's not emotional. You ask him yes, no questions, and you'll get an immediate response. And then Charles can lead. He's got part of the Cross of Laws himself in that channel 360 down at the bottom. That channel is in the incarnation cross of the Cross of the Law. So it's not like it's totally abstract to him. There's an inkling in him that knows that stuff. But then again, what kind of law? Royal law? Royal Admiralty contract, suffocate you, debt slave you law? Yeah. Thanks for the debt slavery, Charles. As far as I'm concerned, you're a douchebag. And you didn't deserve Diana. And I'm sorry, Diana flamed out. Actually, she had to flame out or she would have become one of them.
I don't know. I feel like she was definitely playing a part in this whole...
Well, with that provocation of hers, she would have caused fire. So she couldn't help it. There was a fighter swinging to become provocative. You know what? With that incarnation cross in those channels I'm talking about, I bet you Savannah has a question.
So she has both logical and certain. I think that was about the queen.
Oh, good. Yep.
Yep.
So the queen is no individual definition in the queen. It was all, it's all collective circuitry. Everything the queen had to say was something she wanted to share. The queen was always either sharing or not. And when others weren't recognizing her, what she was sharing was her venom at the other. Whereas Charles, if you don't recognize him, he's not listening. He's a generator. He's not listening. It'll just motor right through. We go see Camilla. I gotta go play polo. Charles is not interested in running a country. He's interested in putting on the crown a couple times a year when they tell him to.
Yes. I will see. I don't think that. I think we're watching a movie.
Yep, we are watching a movie. So this is your royal family, and I really, again, Diana was. She could have brought something. She was a common person, right? She was plucked out of society.
No, she was the Princess of Wales.
She was?
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was a common person.
I don't think so.
Well, what had her act with such common ways? She came out fighting for
I don't know. I would have to research that.
and to correct what needed to be struggled against inside the royal family, inside the crown. So she tried to control how things would get corrected. And what would make her do that if she was bona fide royalty? Did she escape that royal upbringing somehow? Was she one of many kids, maybe, where she didn't know she was royalty as much as the other kids? Or you know what I'm saying? Possibly. Maybe some normal upbringing. I don't know.
Hold on.
All I know is Charles is a right angle cross, and he's just fully self-absorbed in his own little trip.
She was born the Honorable Diana Frances Spencer. She was born a lady.
Okay, so she had some credentials, but I don't know. She seemed to, what I saw from the past was her bringing a great deal of change.
Yes.
To the throne. And
absolutely,
when you're sitting on that kind of money and that kind of power, why would you bring change to that if you were grown up in true royalty, right, and all conditioned that way? So something was going on in her. She had a fire for a light of something. I just don't know what it is. Something human, not reptilian like these guys are.
Well, she realized what they were doing.
That would make sense. That would make sense. And she usurped and out-controlled his mother,
who was giving all the orders of all the stuff that they are doing.
And she was countermanding them. And Charles was listening to her until he wasn't.
Yeah, until Mommy got involved.
Mommy got involved, broke those two up. She did a good job.
Ooh, scandalous.
Yep. So, you know what? I don't really care about the royal family. We're only doing it because the queen died the other day. And
I find it interesting to know what I know about them, or what I believe to be true about them. I'll say that. How it all goes, like, just when I saw that she completes Charles and that she had a defined head center and she was a 5-1 profile, it just made complete sense knowing the position that she is in.
She really could play her own role. She could play that role. I don't agree with that role on our world.
Right.
But
no, we don't agree with it here.
Agree with it, but at the same time, there was the role, and she was fully equipped to play that role as it relates to being able to adapt and have the right practicality to marshal up what it was. So she was a good queen in that way. And I can see why people loved her, the ones that didn't see through the smoke screen, the ones that loved their queen, or, I'm from here, so we love the Red Sox, let's say. I don't know if the Red Sox are any good, but that's just what I'll say. So people in England, no, we love the queen. They don't know if they love them. The reason they would have been able to say that is because she was very practical about how she would appear, and she would only appear attractive and well-groomed and in a very certain way, and that was her shtick. That was her shtick. Yeah. So that's the royal family. And now I can't wait to watch the media, the ones that will contrast the two, because Charles will appear a buffoon compared to his mother.
I think that's already happening. I haven't really, because I don't care. I think we're watching a movie, and I don't feel like he's going to completely make the throne if the throne is even still there. But he's already been showing those type of signs.
Good.
Savannah asked real quick. Diana was a projector, a 1-3. Savannah. Split definition, emotional. Here, I'll show you. Hold on. This is what she was. She was a projector, just like her mom, or just like the queen.
Scroll down so Savannah can see the rest of the chart real quick. There she blows, Savannah. She's a near carbon copy of her mother, of Charles's mother. Close enough. Yep. So.
But you said that most likely we are attracted to the people who are in our family.
Yep, and we're attracted to the people that conditioned us, and we're definitely attracted to the things that we're not. unemotional people are always attracted to emotional people as a general rule of thumb, and vice versa.
Makes
Open
sense.
ego people attracted to that ego, blah, 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 on and on. Sacral attracted to sacral. So,
Makes sense.
yep.
Well, great job. I really enjoyed tonight's episode. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. Please make sure to catch us on Sunday. Do we know what we're doing this Sunday?
The solar plex center.
The
It's too
solar.
important in our world. It's waking up. We need to cover the whole. We need to take a whole show and cover it. In fact, we may even call in the forces and ask Tressa and Savannah to come on.
Absolutely.
Just get a big fat talk going because, you know, it's in our world. We need.
And
to,
I'm the only one out of y'all that's emotional.
right. That's true. No, we need to talk about it because those of us who are open, we're walking around being afraid of everything. We're all afraid of the confrontation. And I don't care how big a fat ego you have, you're afraid of the confrontation. Sooner or later, you're afraid of the stupid confrontation. We got to talk about that.
Yes, I do think that it's an important conversation to have because it goes back to the reason that you're scared to have those conversations is because we don't know how to effectively communicate.
And we don't know how to take in that emotional wave. We just don't know how to take it. And as soon as there's conflict is the first thing to help drive that wave down in the being. And when it goes down, we don't like it. We emotional people. We think we don't like it. We think it's a problem we don't know. And it's so powerful that I can't tell somebody that and hope it's going to sink in. They have to experience it.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like for y'all and y'all's end. So
No, it's scary. It's scary. It's like we don't know. There's what's making me think, what's making me do this. We can't, and then we try and label it, and then we try and run away from it and pretend it didn't happen. Then we get a chip on our shoulder like we're weak or something. All these things keep showing up, and the whole collage is stupid.
we definitely need to talk about that because we know that there's going to be some massive emotional waves and stuff coming up.
Yeah, a big pea soup of stupid. So we're gonna really unpack the emotional solar plex center. It's waking up in our life. We're watching it happen, and it carries the mutation with it, Gate 55 and the spirit.
Wonderful. I'll be looking forward to that conversation. And guys, make sure to go check us out, like and subscribe to the show. And until next time, we will see you later. Bye now.
Peace.